Hi, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I really wanted to do a video highlighting the plays that I like to run in college football 25. So I really wanted to do it with our opening drive because, again, I think a lot of these plays work well together and work well in general. So I really wanted to highlight and show why they work, how you can implement them, kind of what to look for when you're running them, and ultimately they help you score points at the end of the day, and especially on an opening drive where you can secure a lead, especially knowing that you're not going to get the ball to start in the second half like I am in this situation. So really wanted to break down, go over the plays that I love. As you can see, we have 15 plays in the favorite section. I don't always run all 15. I probably, hover around 10, maybe 12, in a single game. Probably no more than 12, no fewer than, 9, I would say. And really, I like to be simplistic because I think I come from the football background of, in real football, simpler is sometimes better. It's not always great to have 1,000 plays if you can't really run them successfully, right? It was always a big air raid staple and principle of, running the same handful of plays but out of different looks, different formations, right? Different responses to defense. And so that's kind of what's worked well for me in college football 25. There's definitely a little bit of a skill issue. I'll be the first to admit that. But I think at the end of the day, it's about being efficient, right? I mean, it is about playing like real football. A lot of the games that I've lost have been because I played dumb, right? I turned the ball over. I made bad decisions, got myself behind the sticks, got myself into bad situations. So it's all about staying on schedule, not turning the ball over, right? A lot of real world football principles that I try to implement in the game, and really just want to break down and show you kind of what's worked well for me. So let's get into it here. We're going to start with the RPO alert shock, as you saw there. So when we get into this look, obviously he's going to shift his defensive line here. So you'll see this is the final picture that we're going to get, right? So it's a 4 down front, but you have the 3 down front, but you have these two guys, I guess 4, right? Guys in like a 9, I guess. And he's got his linebacker walk down. So really, this is not a bad picture to run into. It's not. I mean, it's we have hat on a hat. We have 6 gaps for 5 guys to cover. So we're +1 really in that regard in the run game. Obviously, as you saw, RB is going to run. He's going to run this little full 5-yard hitch. We have a takeoff, outside release, and then we have a hitch by number 3, right? So this is really 2 and 3 is called fitch, right? That's what we called it at Auburn. At Liberty, that's what Coach Reese has always called it. So it's really just a smash combination, right? So it's a high-low read. So you have this here, right? So you're going to read high and then work down low, depending on what the corner does. Now, this is not a good look to throw into to our right. It's 4 over 3. We don't have the numbers there. We have the numbers in the run game to hand this off. But what I like to do in a lot of critical key situations is we do have this curl or this hitch route by number 1 to the left. So this is free access. I mean, I take this 10 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10, depending on what situation we're in. But this is free access. So we really have 2 great options here, right? We can hand this off, or we can throw the hitch route, get 5 yards. If we're lucky, we can maybe fight for an extra, get to 6. But we have 2 great options here. So we're just going to hand it off, play it safe. Obviously, the nose tackle makes a heck of a play. Great user play by him. I can't fault him for that. Really not a bad option. We're going to go back to it again because, again, we had the hitch route to our left. And, again, it's a similar picture, right? We have essentially 4 down. We have the 2 backers. So off the snap, right, again, it's the same kind of look, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 over 3. We have a box we can run into here. This is a really good opportunity to hand it off and take it. But, again, I want to throw this because I want the opportunity to get some yards, right? They played it really well. Again, we're going to sit it down. Dre does a great job, gets 6 yards. Now we're in a much more manageable situation, right? We go from 2nd and 12 to 3rd and 6. We want to do that, right? So getting into this right now. Right, so now 3rd and 6, right? Much more manageable, like I said. So what we're going to do is we're going to call halfback base, right? This middle play right here operates basically as 1 back power at a 2x2. I love this play, and again, we're going to get the run look that isn't as good as the other one that we had before, but we're going to still get a favorable look. And the best part is he's going to shift, right? He likes to shift to the strength. I get it. But this is going to open up an opportunity because it's going to change the numbers, right? Because this is a right side run. So we're really just going to have to worry about 1, 2, 3, 4, right? These two guys are already out leveraged off the snap. So we're going to have 52 is obviously going to pull, or he's going to look to kick and pull if we don't get anything. And then we're going to have, we have numbers. We have numbers from there, and we have space, right? So boom, stick it up in there, first down run, right? That play is a great run play because you get a lot of light boxes, and you get opportunities to get into a look that you want. All right, now that we've got a new set of downs, we're on the minus 44, and we're gonna be middle right. We're gonna call this RPO bubble. All right, now that we've got a new set of downs, we're on the minus 44, so we're about to cross midfield. We're gonna call this RPO bubble wide pop, as you see there. And we are, since we're middle right, we're gonna run this play to the field. Okay, I love running this play to space to the field. And as you can see, I'm going to stop it here, but as you can see, they're about to shift again. So we have a variety of options here, right? We can throw, again, we can throw the hitch route to our right, right? We have a little bit of space, easy throw, we have free access. Again, a good opportunity to get into about 2nd and 5, right? Stay on schedule and keep moving. We can hand it off, right? We're going to get a pretty favorable box here for the most part that we can run into. I don't love it because we're still, they have 6. I don't want to run into that if I don't have to. Obviously the shifting is going to change the picture a little bit. So this guy's probably going to either spin or stay out and widen so he can play this this curl flat area that's really potentially going to take this pop away. But then we also have RB, right, who's going to run the bubble. So my favorite thing to do with this play, obviously, is you want to take a peek at the pop naturally, right? And again, you're going into this play knowing that you have to do your box count, depending on whether you're going to hand off or not, right? Because this is going to say a lot. If we're going to get 7 in the box, there's no way we're going to run, not conceivably, right? We're not handing that ball off. There's going to be other options elsewhere. This, to me, the run is more of a last-second decision because there are no extra moves that need to be made, right? For a handoff, right? You just let it run, and the ball is handed off. So it's a last-second. I'm not really sure what to do. The picture's changing, and I'm not sure where to go with the ball. We'll just hand it off. Worst case, we get back to the line of scrimmage. It's rare for me to be tackled for a loss on this one specifically. It doesn't happen often. A lot of the worst cases involve maybe picking up, 1 yard, getting back to the line of scrimmage on occasion, but more often than not 1 yard. For me, the biggest play, the best play, is reading this nickel, right? We're going to read him. We can see it looks like he's head up, right? So naturally he's not leveraged one way or the other. Now, if he were outside leverage on this receiver, I'm going to throw this very often, almost regardless of what he does, right? Because he's already out leveraged. There's an opportunity for our X receiver here blocking to pick him up, and we can kind of get out, pick up some extra yardage. But a lot of what we're going to do is going to be dictated by, mainly 1. If you really want to throw it, you can, but mainly 1, 2, and then 3 here. So I love this play because, again, it has options, right? So we see it changing, spins down. The nickel's a little flat-footed. Obviously, we have our linebacker here who's got eyes on. Quarterback, everyone's eyes on, right? So again, we could have this if we want. Relatively easy throw to make. Again, but this safety is about to creep down and spin down. I don't love that. It's not uncommon for them to be involved in the play. An interception is not always likely unless they're just using it from the start. But we haven't shown him that look yet, so that I am not expecting that to happen. So we're gonna have an opportunity here. Again, we see it changing, and again, like I mentioned, almost regardless of what the nickel was going to do, you have an opportunity to throw it. This is not probably the best decision. The best decision is probably to hand it off, obviously, depending because of the box that we had going into after the shift. It was a good enough box to run into. We had hats, we had numbers. But again, with him pedaling like that and our receiver opening for the bubble, we have an opportunity to make a good throw, carry him up the field. We have an opportunity as well for the receiver to pick him up, pick the block up like I mentioned earlier. And again, right, try to spin, obviously a missed time spin. We get 4 yards, right? And now we're in 2nd and 6, so we're in a good situation there. All right, so it's 2nd and 6. We're on the minus 48. We're on schedule. We're moving the ball. We have an opportunity to cross midfield here relatively soon. We're going to call this RPO alert screen, as you see in the bottom right. One of my I don't want to say like not so favorite RPOs. I'm more indifferent about it than I am with the other ones because you don't always get the right looks, and the defense doesn't always respond the same. So it's a little bit tougher to almost anticipate what's going to happen, how it's going to unfold. So we have a box to start that we could run into. Again, it's 6 in the box. They're playing so far off the ball that I don't like. Yes, numbers wise, it's not the worst box to run into. You could, but I don't want to. Again, we only need 6 yards, so it kind of goes back in this situation. Kind of goes back to what I was saying about it not being my favorite one based on the defense response, because again, we do only need 6 yards. So I don't like the ball having to go so far out east or west when we just need to get forward and get going. When this is kind of a quicker hitting run, it's just inside zone. So again, you can run into this box. Again, I wouldn't be against it. With it being 2nd and 6, like I said, we just want to get going. But we do have such a good look that it's an opportunity to, even if we don't get a first down on this play, there's a real opportunity for us to cut this in half and get into a 3rd and 3, or if not better. So, we have 2-over-2 over here. I don't love this with this. The sideline is essentially the 12th defender. I don't love running it to the short side of the field. Even with this being a shorter throw, it's not the worst decision or idea. Especially if these corners were to bail, we could have something, but there's just not a lot of space. So this, it makes way too much sense. Even with this safety lurking, even with the stand up edge guy who's probably gonna race to be, if he's not a curl flat, he'll at least be a hook curl player. He can't get here in time. There's no way. This is too far to go. Even with this being a longer throw, it's still too far to go. They have to come down and rally. We're gonna have space to run this. It just makes too much sense to throw this to the field. Again, you'll hear me say this and talk about it. It's all about space and field, right? We want to operate in a way that attacks the openings, maximizes the distance, maximizes the field and space afforded to us. So again, you see that's all right. 1st and 10 on the +41. We've crossed midfield. We're moving the ball really efficiently, making good decisions, making good reads. We're going to finish off kind of this row of play calling here with the RPO read swing. So again, we're gonna get this hitch to the right. Obviously, that's eliminated because he's playing man. He's gonna man up against us, try to probably take away a lot of the short stuff that we've been able to hit. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this running back in motion. Right, we're gonna see the defense shift and change. The picture's gonna change a little bit. Right, he's gonna respond to it. And so initially, right, this is a good place to stop it. Initially, he is gonna start to run and take away Y, right? And so with that being said, that's going to clear him out. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 on 5. We're +1. We're +1 gap. So we have an opportunity to hand this off and pick up some yardage. There's no doubt about it. This DN, I don't know what he's doing. It doesn't even look like he's off the ball yet. Now it's interesting because the defender that was running with him stops. Okay? He stops. Obviously, it looks like an attempt to come back and fit back into the run. It doesn't matter because he's already out leveraged. If he is going to make a play or a tackle on it, it's not going to be, it has to be at least, 2 yards down the field. It's not going to be near the line of scrimmage. So you could throw this. It's not a bad chance to throw it because you're going to be one here, one here. You're really going to have 3 on 2 and essentially, 3 on 3 if he comes down and runs the alley. It sets you up for a one-on-one opportunity with the safety in theory. So it's not a bad idea to throw it. But obviously we made the decision early. Again, you saw him kind of re-engage with him, and even he didn't really gain much more ground this way. So again, right, makes more sense to hand this off, get into a favorable look. Obviously 75 is not really helping us out with the block too much up until there, but now we've got an opportunity to run, right, gain 7 yards. So huge opportunity there. And now we're gonna no huddle, and we're gonna run the motion Y cross off of it. So what's going to happen is this split is going to cut down, and we're going to get dig over. Right? Oh, I had it backwards. He's going to run, kind of the over out. He's going to run the deep dig. They widen with Y, and this is really, it's not necessarily a constraint off of it, but it is a response and a look that they aren't necessarily prepared to see right off it, right? Because when you go no huddle, maybe they're expecting the same play. If they're not seeing the quarterback come up to the line, make a bunch of changes, they're probably expecting the same play. Obviously, you cut the split down. Sometimes they don't even notice it. But again, it's a totally different play and response than what they're used to. So Y is done. He we're 3 over 1 here essentially. So that means over here we should have something coming open. Maybe if it's not in this window or this window, you know, likely in this third window. That naturally is not always the best window to wait for, because it takes a while to develop, and you don't always have an offensive line that can hold up. But we see A coming open, and it's a good read, just a bad throw, right? And even, I mean, we have 2 guys in one area. The route tempo, the route placement is not the best in this game. So I mean, but again, we have two guys in an area, an opportunity to make a catch, just not a good throw. So the reason I do also like that play on 2nd and 3 is we know we only need 3 yards to get a first down, right? And now we're in plus territory. There's obviously an opportunity for us to go for it on 4th down if we get in that situation. But 2nd down is the great opportunity to take a shot, especially when it's coming off of a look that they hadn't seen yet, and running a play that they hadn't seen yet off this look. So there's always, there's naturally going to be some of this confusion or uncertainty about how they want to respond to it. All right, so the other reason I like running that play on 2nd and 3 is it's a great opportunity to kind of take a shot, if you will. Granted, that's not really taking a shot, but it is opportunity to take, a shot down the field, stretch the field a little bit off of a look that they hadn't seen yet. It was a play that they hadn't seen yet. Not really sure how to cover or respond to it. But, we only need 3 yards to get a first down. Now we're in 3rd and 3. We know we can pick up 3. We know we're in plus territory to where, it's probably 4th down territory. We can go for it, so we can continue cutting these distances in half. So let's take a shot, or let's take an opportunity to kind of push the ball down the field, maybe pick up a big play and kind of get into the low red zone a little bit. But now we're going to get to this RPO read wide receiver screen. And I do like this play a lot at this juncture of the game, because we've already come out in twins, right? We've come out in twins. We've come out in 2x2. We've had different looks, different runs. It makes it a little bit harder to create a tendency a little bit. So again, we have a good box to run into. It's not the worst in the world, right? With 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we can run into this. You don't know what this apex defender is going to do, if he's going to fold in the box. But again, it's 2-on-2, right? I mean, obviously the safety kind of makes it 3-on-2, but he's a non-factor from that alignment in this regard, right? So again, we have 3 over 3 here. It's not a part of the play, but again, we know from a number standpoint, we have 3 over 2. We have 3 over 2, so there's going to be an opportunity in the box to kind of gain an advantage. So it's not the worst opportunity to hand it off, but again, we're going to read it, because that's what the play is designed to do, right? We see this nickel kind of pinch and squeeze down, so we're going to pull it, take off. If he's going to play us, then we're just going to stop and throw, because look at all this space, right? Again, we're running this to the field, as we mentioned before with a lot of these other plays. We want to run it to space, have an opportunity to work into space, and it just makes too much sense, right? We just need 3 yards, get a big play, make a nice move, get up the field, right? Now we're on the plus 21. I have an opportunity to get into the red zone and score. All right, so with that being said, now we're going to go back to this RPO alert shock. This isn't, the worst opportunity to maybe take a shot to the end zone again on 1st and 10 with our Fitch route. But I do want an opportunity to run something different. All right, so 1st and 10 on the plus 21. We're going to go back to this RPO alert shock. It's not the worst opportunity to take a shot with this fade route, but I do want a chance to audible into a different look that we're going to get into. And again, so it's really just a bubble from number 3, kind of the same principle as some of our other ones. But again, we're pressed down here. That's not a good look to throw into. We have 1, 2, 3 over 3. The safety's over here, right? If you were to split it in half. So we really have 4 over 3 here. You're 2 over 1. We are in the box. We're 5 on 5 in the box. Again, we're plus 1 from a gap standpoint. We are going to hand this off. It makes too much sense, regardless of what the defense does, not to hand it off. And we're going to get a good gain. We pressed it a little wide, but that's where the space was. Now we're in 2nd and 1. All right, 2nd and 1 on the plus 12. We have an opportunity to march down the field, get into the end zone. We're going to call that bench halfback angle. And I really like this play. When you have kind of a shorter distance to go, it's really one of my favorite, probably my favorite 2-point play. Especially when you're running it from the middle of the field, because you have these routes that need a little bit more space to develop. But as you see, I did with A, right? I'm going to shorten his stem down, because 9 times out of 10, the way that they align to it, right, is something like this, right? You won't always get the linebackers pinched together this tightly. But again, when you're coming out with a pass, for me, it's all about just trying to be as efficient as possible, right? We talked about in the beginning of the video, a lot of games come down to, inefficiencies, turnovers, things like that. We want to mitigate those risks as much as possible, right? So if I can just cut his stem down, right, give him an easy pass, right, an easy out route, get him past the sticks, maybe he gets something after the catch, great. We don't, obviously, everyone loves the angle route back across over the middle of the field. That gets murky when space gets tighter. We have enough room to run it, but again, space is tighter than normal. And so I don't mind going to it. I just don't want to have to if we don't need to. So I really want to shorten this down. He widens, and we get a curl flat defender that takes it away, right? So unfortunately, there aren't a lot of great responses to it other than, letting stuff develop, right? So we see everyone drop, everyone gets into their zones. He takes it away pretty well. We don't really have RB. That's gone. Y, we're not making this throw. X is covered. A is covered, right? Everyone is covered. With everyone kind of being in coverage, the rush is getting to us. We're just going to pull it down. Right? Pull it down, get as many yards as we can. Would have liked to slide, but we pick up 10 yards. Now it's 1st and goal from the 2, so that was a great opportunity to extend the play. Now we're going to run this RPO read Y flat. I really like this play in short yardage situations because, again, it's a similar look to what we have shown already from an RPO standpoint, from a drop back standpoint. We have an opportunity here to read this end, right? We know we're going to start here. Obviously, this one's taken away. We're not throwing that. We have an opportunity to read this end and, pull it and throw it to our tight end if he leaks out, if they cover it well, or if we block it well, rather. We really don't love the box here. It's muddy, it's murky. So we're going to have to, we're just going to have to read it and kind of make a play off of it, respond. Obviously, he's going to control the safety. You can't throw the Y right away because he did take that safety and come over the top. So he does just enough to make you think, but he's crashing. So we're going to pull it. We could just run it in. And to be honest with you, I should have just run it in. There was way too much space here. But with him controlling him initially, I thought, man, I don't know if we'll get there. If he gets hit, will he fumble? It's really not the best. It wasn't the best picture. But again, I should have run it. But we still have an opportunity to throw it. And it is a touchdown. Granted, we did get a legal man downfield. I think that they call that way too often in this game. It's pretty crazy, I think, how often it actually does get called. But again, should have just run it. But a good play when you get down in the red zone. All right, it's essentially 1st and 7. We got backed up. We're going to call this RPO X glance bubble. And what we're going to do is we're going to flip it because I don't like the bang 8 coming from the field, right? There's so much space, right? This takes too long to throw. There's a lot of space to cover. It's a longer throw. I like flipping it, having the bang 8 kind of come from the boundary. We're going to shorten the stem, cut this down because, again, we talked about, right? When you get down closer to the goal line, there's less space. We need quicker hitting things. The only problem that, I've come to find with it, and it's the reason it's no longer a part of, my favorites, is because, it can get taken away pretty quickly. Obviously, as we see here the numbers, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These two likely aren't going to be factors for it, even with it shortening the stem and being a quicker hitting throw. But I don't love the run going into the boundary, right? The run has to go to the slant. I don't love the run going into the boundary. It's just not something that, obviously, you've heard me preach throughout the video about going to space, going to the field, all of those things, right? So this right here is eliminated right away. We're not even going to look at that. That's way too murky. We're out leveraged, we're outnumbered. Going to the run, option 2 here, we still don't have, this run is designed to, designed to operate like a sweep, or even like an outside zone rather. And we don't have cutting this in half. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 essentially for, if the center's going to reach 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're outnumbered even in the run, right? He's heavy, he's heavy defensive, heavy to our right, defensive left. That's not a good look to run into. It just makes more sense to come back here into this 2-on-2 situation, right? We know this corner looks like he's outside leverage of the receiver, and he's, 10 yards off the ball roughly, give or take. He can't get there in time. There's no way, because these guys are going to be engaged in a battle. Maybe not right at the line of scrimmage, but 3 yards down the field, to where once we get the ball and we get on our track, they're gonna overlap, right? They're gonna scrape. He can't get there in time to make a play. So it makes way too much sense to throw this. Even with the corner press, we can't see what he's doing. We don't love it, but again, we saw the nickel flash. This guy's nowhere to be seen. We are going to walk into the end zone, cap off a great drive, and kind of close out the first quarter with a touchdown. So thanks for following along. I appreciate you watching. If you have any ideas or tips for videos, whatever it may be, drop them in the comments below. I'd be happy to make more videos, hear your thoughts, your critiques. I love playing this game. I love football in general. I love trying to apply some real-world principles to it as much as possible. Obviously, I know it's a video game, but I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. Thanks for following along.